Hi, Susan Norwell here from Rett University. And hopefully you saw our little short blurb on remote consulting, and that's why you have landed here for more information. First of all, I just want to say from the bottom of my heart that I am just so sad for all the families that we work with, and even those that we don't work with that have a complex kiddo and are trying to deal with this pandemic. I know that the families that I interact with have enough stress on their plate, and the last thing they needed was more stress. And so we are praying for you, thinking about you at Rett University, and also trying to figure out ways that we could lighten your load. Because if there are ever families that could need their load lightened a little bit, it would be you all. So let me explain a little bit more about what this remote consulting would look like at Rett University. I just want to show you a little blurb down here. This is my email address in case you have any questions. At the end, you'll have Kourtney Barnum's contact information. You can contact her also with any questions or to schedule a consulting time if you're interested. This picture right here is probably my favorite picture. I took a screenshot just of a kiddo that I'm working with in Switzerland. She's doing the vocabulary to a book that she's reading. That's the app we're using is called Splashtop. And this is her mom just giving her a lot of praise after she just, took a look and really was moving around learning all of these words. And what I like is that we've got this big smile and this engagement piece going on, because that was what I didn't want to lose in remote. So I always say that necessity is the mother of invention. And the little girl you saw in the picture before, his name is Lieb, and she had been scheduled to come to see me in the U.S. from Switzerland for a 1-week intensive. She was going to be there 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon for a week. She had double hip surgery, and the doctor said that she could not travel. So mom asked, can we do it by Skype? Susan said, yes. And then Susan said to herself, or I said to myself, yikes, how can I do this? Like, this is a great concept, but how am I really going to make this happen? And I am sometimes I'm very confident in my ability to figure things out. This was like one of those times where I was like, oh my gosh, I hope I can figure this out, because this is what typical sessions look like. There's a lot of engagement. There's a lot of interaction. There's a lot of modeling. There's a lot of learning going on, and how was I going to replicate this without being right there? And that's when technology came to the rescue. So Splashtop is how I remote into kiddos' devices to do programming. I thought, well, if I can program this way, why can't I model this way? Because I knew that if I couldn't model on their device, this wasn't going to work. Because I can't teach somebody how to use their device without modeling. Neither can I teach somebody like a parent or a carer how to model without modeling. This modeling thing is like really essential. That's an essential component. So it really works in real time to model, and the kiddo can respond. I can take control of their device if I need to. I can fix something if I need to, and I can model. That was a non-negotiable. Check that box. Then GoToMeeting. I've been using GoToMeeting a long time for me to interact with clients and consult with them afar in terms of IEPs, in terms of talking about what they might want on their device, talking them through what I've put on their kid's device and kind of showing them where things are. This was ideal for me to be able to position their camera or whatever they're using. They can use they're going to use a camera on their computer, a camera on their iPad. It would be better than their phone. I think a larger screen works better. I haven't positioned it on the left side, so it's sitting on the left side. So it's like I'm sitting on their yes side. So visually, they can turn to me for yes, or they can look at their yes, no that's in front of them. But it's set up really exactly like how I operate in real time, which is pretty darn cool. So what we will do now, this is what we can do. So this is what my computer looks like when I'm in the process of doing a remote. I have their computer to one side operating through Splashtop so that I can model. I have their computer, their eye gaze system set up so that it highlights when they select, even if their eyes just graze over it and it doesn't say anything. I have that highlighting set so I can make sure I can see what they're doing. And then I'm set up with GoToMeeting so I can see where they are and what they are doing. So this was a really, really important aspect of what we were doing here, this technology, in order to get to this place. So let me show you what the Splashtop movie looks like, and I'm really not going to play very much of it, but in this shared reading that we're doing, she is supposed to look to the left and then to the right, that I'm really working on because this is brand new for her. We're just working on print processing. Where do we start? Where do we go? And I have these set up to highlight so that I can see that her eyes are there. So I have that pink box there just as a little reminder that that's where she needs to start. Eventually that pink box will go away and it'll be an invisible box. But you can see pretty soon she's going to get to that left side again. And all the while actually her caregivers are reading it because as you can see, it's all in French. And I had 4 years of high school Spanish, so I'm sad to say that all my French kind of sounds like Spanish. So the double whammy here in working with Liv is not only am I doing it from afar, I'm also teaching her everything in French. Her device is in French, so I'm modeling in French. I've learned a lot of French. Not that I can pronounce it, but I can model it. And I'm teaching her how to read in French. So she has now gotten from the left side to the right side. You see that little bit of a lag, but that's okay because she's got Rett. She's apraxic. The other thing is the fact that she's even getting to the left is good because she does have some left side visual problems. This is how my books are set up also so that we have a chance to do a picture walk. So she just turned the page. I thought she turned the page a little too soon. I still had some work to do back there, so I'm able to do everything that I would have normally done to keep us where we need to be. So here she is, and now we're talking about the picture. We're talking about the fact you don't see my modeling won't light up. If I had thought to actually record the GoToMeeting also, then we would have the verb, you would hear the sound, but it's quiet. Sorry, it's a no talkie. But she is following my lead. I'm saying, that's bad. She's looking at the dog's face. And you'll see her in a little minute come over to the not good. That's what this is. Not good is the same as are bad. They have like 2 words for everything. So, let's see. Oh, this is she's talking about the dog now. She thinks the dog is really cute. Later on, she looks at the crayons that are broken and talks about the fact that it's not good. So she is, looking at these, and this is something that we're in the process of fixing. Whenever I have a new book for her, I kind of lay this out, and then her carer goes in and fixes the stuff in the background because she's fluent in French and is doing great. So she's looking at the crayons and finally gets to the not good. Yeah, it takes a little while. She gets there and then she gets down to the not good. So that's what I'm seeing in terms of her device. Now, what it would look like if I was reading a book to her, it's kind of interesting because when I don't know why this happened in this take, but when I did this with my grandkids, I read a book to them every day. I recorded this one so you can see what it looks like. The one that I did last night did not show up backwards, so I don't know what's going on here. I just did something weird. Anyway, so this is what it looks like. There's me. So that's what they're seeing, except they're not. I asked them if they were seeing it backwards, and they weren't. It just has something to do with the camera. And then I can see this. This is them. So I know from where I'm sitting that I'm holding the book in the right place so they can see it, and I can see their faces and see their expressions, so I know how to map meaning onto their affect if I was modeling. And typically when I have a device set up over here, I have these tiled off to this side so I can see them both. So
Ralph
just to see
tells a story by Abby Hanlon.
Do you know this person's last name is just like my name before I got married, except it has an O. Hanlon. I'm Hanlin. Wow. These are the twins here. See if this ever happens to you.
Ralph tells a story
by Abby Hanlon. So it's that clear to all of us as to what's going on. And so it gives us that real, like we're almost there with each other, really enjoying each other. And that's really what I wanted to achieve. I didn't want to do something remotely if I felt it was going to cheapen our primary goals whenever we interact. So here are some possible concept goals. We can provide effective modeling strategies to parents and communication partners on how to use core words within their device, no matter what they're using. She's using, the little girl in Switzerland is using a what would you call it? It's called, oh gosh, it's one of the grid softwares because it comes in French. So I'm really concentrating on core words and descriptive words. Other kids, I really want to push descriptive words. Other kids, I really want them to start describing what's happening. What are the actions in a story so that they can begin to create narratives if they know what's happening, and then work on natural greetings and them advocating for themselves. Because, a lot of our kids are quick to scream and not so quick to use their words. And the interesting thing about this, when I think about it, let's say you're really struggling at a particular time of the day and you'd like as somebody just be there for that hour to figure out what to do. Hey, we can do that now. We don't have to come for the whole day. We could pop in during that hour and we could work through a specific thing to help you with your personal goals for you and your kiddo. We can provide effective modeling strategies to parents and communication partners on how to talk about events in advance of them happening, how to talk them through the actual activity, and then to talk about it after the fact. We don't do that with our AAC users. We do it all the time with our verbal kiddos and verbal students. But if we talk about things before they happen and after they happen, we're talking to them about thinking in advance. We're teaching them about thinking in advance. And we're also teaching them that they're supposed to talk to us about things they've done. And that retell is really important because it's the beginning of narrative construction. We could also set up literacy-based activities and have you go through them with us. We can model how to do it. We can do them. We can have you take a turn. We can go back and forth. Model how to do a picture walk, how to model tracking text, how to talk about a book, how to point out the text and work on print processing. I have a consult coming up next week where we're going to be working on making words and writing. So these are all things that we can do, and that's just Seattle, not the other side of the world, so I don't have to wake up at 2:00 in the morning and do it in my pajamas. We can send ahead graphic organizers and other materials that go along with the books or the activities we're doing so that we can use them. This is just what my new book format looks like. We can set up that format on your device so the kiddo has those books available to them to use. Other possible concept goals is let's write with each other. Let's get this scribbling started for young kids. Let's look at emergent writing and how what they write, we can begin to find the meaning in it if we attach it to a shared context. Now, if they're writing, hey, I'm writing with invented spelling, they're starting to give us maybe single letters to go with words, and we're going to try and figure out what they're trying to say. We can also, I've had a lot of luck with writing if we play a game of Hangman. I'm thinking of a word that describes what this character is like, and I give them the spaces and they give me letters, and I can play with a whole family. Maybe the kid with Rett gives me letters, but they're not the letters that are in there. Gosh, when you play Hangman, that's half the fun of it, drawing the picture of the person that's might get hung up there. Not that I think about it, it's kind of a little macabre, but it is part of the game, guys. So anyways, everybody can be adding a letter in. And that's the name of the game. Not everybody gets a correct letter. So it kind of evens the playing field in terms of using it as something you can do with other children too. We want to give people access to the full alphabet. We talk about writing all the time as how important it is. But do people really know how to do it? Or they may have even watched our writing class. And they may have even tried it themselves and they got discouraged because their kiddo didn't respond the way they saw in the videos that were in our course. This is where we can help with that. We can look diagnostically right at your kiddo and say, hey, I think if you do it this way, it might be a little better. Or listen to how I set this up. Listen to how much wait time I give her. because that's what I find to be some of the biggest bugaboos is it's not the what, it's the how we're doing it for each child that makes a big difference. So that's our address at rettuniversity.org, where we have a bunch of courses that you can take. But for information about how to set up a consult or to get more information about a remote consult, I would like you to contact Kourtney Barnum. This is her address down at the bottom. She does all of our scheduling and all of our this is how much it costs and this is what you have to do. She handles all the logistics for me. I am not very good at that. I know where my talents are. That is not it. So thank you very, very much for joining us for this kind of informational video on what remote consulting is. I really think it's a missing link for us, not just in this time where we have to be remote, but in a time where we have it now as an option. Another tool in our tool belt for how Rett University can help you and help your kiddos. And that's what we're all about. So thanks. Bye-bye.